Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to D&H TV. I am Chris Phillips. I am so excited to be here today because we're going to get to talk about something that I've been looking forward to for quite some time. We're going to be taking a look at the Lenovo Z Series laptops, the soon-to-be released Z Series laptops. But I need some help to guide us all through this. So I got two great speakers with me here today. Joining us from AMD, I have Chad Gray. He's the global account manager. Chad, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. Super excited to hear more about this. And from our internal D&H team, we have Matt Frankford, our AMD business development manager. Matt, how's it going?
Hey, living the great American dream, Chris. Good to be here.
I wrote your last name first because that's how it
It
shows up in
happens quite a lot.
So, as we kind of get started here, I want to kind of do some housekeeping before we get into the meat and potatoes here. During this presentation, we're going to be learning a lot about the Lenovo Z Series. If you have any questions at all during any of the presentation, there's a Q&A section over here on the usually right-hand side of the screen. I just highlighted it for you. Ask any questions you have. We will answer them either throughout the presentation, or if we have time at the end, we'll do all the Q&A at the end of the presentation as well. We also have resources available to learn more about these devices. They are brand new. They are real cool to look at. So if you want to have something to look at after the presentation or during the presentation, they are there for you. But without further ado, Chad, you get the honor of telling everyone here at D&H, all of our resellers that are on the call with us, a little bit more about Lenovo Z Series laptops. What's going on with the Z Series laptops this year?
So I just want to rewind and give you guys a little preview into why Lenovo decided to design these products, and why this was the year to kind of step outside of the traditional ThinkPad look and feel. So, if you look at Lenovo over the past, Lenovo combined with IBM over the past 30 years, they launched ThinkPad in 1992. Since then, it's become a household name, especially with corporate, enterprise customers. Everyone recognizes the black look and feel, the red TrackPoint, the reliability, and the ThinkPad name and brand that's become so trusted in the market. With all that said, Lenovo is #1 market share in the commercial notebook space with 30%. But even with 30%, that means that 70% of customers are still buying from other OEM partners, other solutions. So to attack that other 70% of the market, Lenovo thought it was time to step outside of their comfort zone and partner with AMD on the new Z series, including the Z13 and the Z16. This is not going to be your dad's ThinkPad, so to say. It's going to be a completely newly designed look and feel. It's going to have a lot of great environmental sustainability messaging that you can talk to customers about. It's going to have an amazing new design to collaborate, work from home, work from anywhere. It seems to be the world that we're all living in now due to COVID. I don't know about you guys, but I don't plan on going back into an office anytime soon. And the laptop of tomorrow has to support that new initiative. And then the last piece is going to be, performance. Customers want a faster and faster laptop every year. And, in partnership with AMD, you will get that on the Z13 and Z16. Last thing on, overall, before I dive into specifics, MacBook has become quite the player here in North America. If you take a look at IDC data from, last year, you'll see a dramatic share increase that Apple was able to achieve in 2021. And that's for a number of reasons. I think one being that is their new M1 chip. Their engineers have designed quite a quality processor over there in California. So they're getting competitive in the CPU space, which obviously has put my company AMD and my competition Intel on alert. And it's going to, drive great competition in the market. We'll continue to innovate and, try and stay one step ahead of the curve on the Windows side of things. The second being is the workforce is more heavily every day, millennials and Gen Zs. These type of people, they really want, the top end of the stack. They want all the bells and whistles. They want that premium look and feel. They like colors. If you look at all the other OEM providers, they've started added silver options, gold options. They're really kind of getting away from that traditional, just reliable laptop. It has to be more than that in today's days and times. And Lenovo, took this as an opportunity to create a new product that kind of will be the future of ThinkPad. It's going to be, if you look at one, you're not even going to recognize it's a Lenovo. It's really a step outside of the boundaries. So want to take you through the three.
Do we want to go ahead and give them a look at it real quick, since we're talking about it? Because like you said, these aren't, the ThinkPads have had this iconic look for forever, for almost a decade.
Yeah, before
plus.
I dive into specifics, I think it'd be a great idea to show this thing off.
Yeah, let's give everyone a look at the new ThinkPad Z Series, because it is, like you said, unlike anything Lenovo has ever put out there. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a look. Yeah, that is something that is that's different than we've ever seen from Lenovo. Chad, why don't you go ahead? There was a lot of great information in there, but it was really brief. Why don't you go ahead and kind of jump in and tell us more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first piece I want to touch on is the sustainability piece. And, this will be a common theme throughout the details of the product. There are a lot of firsts from Lenovo. So they're really treating this product as a great avenue and venue to really try out a lot of new things that they've been wanting to add to ThinkPad for years. So like I said, first thing I want to touch on is sustainability. So this will be the first ThinkPad ever that is made of all recycled materials. Over 95% of the materials that make up these notebooks are completely recycled. So whether it's the bronze vegan leather, which is a synthetic recycled cover for the Z13.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually got to touch and feel one for the first time last week, and I cannot
Slightly
wait
jealous.
to get my hands on them. I know. Looking to make it my daily driver here, once we get closer to the ship date. So we'll have to get a batch over to D&H so you guys can play around with them. Not only are the materials recycled, so you have the synthetic leather and then the recycled aluminum as well, which is an option on the 13 and 16. You also have 100% renewable and compostable packaging. This is another first for Lenovo. So all of the packaging for the Z Series models will be made of 100% bamboo and sugarcane. What that means is the packaging will be 100% compostable. So you could literally, if you have a garden at home and you get a Z Series in, you could throw the packaging in your garden, it would break down completely, 100% no waste, and is 100% compostable. So, everyone would have thought that was a joke, a couple of years ago, but as we, are battling climate change, more and more companies have KPIs around their carbon footprint, what they're doing to support the environment and lower their energy and waste consumption. I think this is a very cool journey that Lenovo is going down in partnership with AMD. And I think this is really going to take hold and catch on to the rest of the portfolio as well as we continue to move through the years. But I'm really excited about the sustainability story. A lot of customers we've spoken to at first about this device are really interested in that piece. They've never seen anything like that in the market. All recycled materials, 100% compostable packaging. So I think that's going to be a really big lever that we can push on, with customers to help gain interest in this product. It's really innovative from Lenovo, and I think it's going to make a huge impact to the world overall.
And it's able to do that without compromising on any the performance or the looks of the device at all. That's amazing.
No, absolutely not. And I'll dive into that in a minute, but this will be the best performing, most secure ThinkPad that Lenovo has ever released to the market. So that's going to be the second piece. They did not, since this is going to be a premium level SKU, top end of the stack, similar to their, X1 series that they partner with Intel on. They wanted to make sure that this device did not sacrifice at all from a performance perspective. So these devices will be exclusively run by the new AMD Ryzen 6000 series Pro CPUs. AMD CEO Lisa Su announced those at CES. And we expect to have another very strong year from a performance, a battery life, and an overall cost perspective compared to our competition, Intel. The Ryzen 6000
let me jump in there
series.
real quick. No, sorry, before you go too far down that road, to answer Murtaz's question about is this more of a prosumer device, as Chad unfolds this or unboxes this thing here, I think you'll find that this is above a prosumer level. This could be a bring your own device to work kind of thing, but it's much more secure, much faster. It was designed to be a commercial device as opposed to, it looks consumer, but the security features, the processor speeds, the manageability factors that Chad's about to go into, this is definitely 100% a commercial piece. Great for a dual environment, great for using yourself from the coffee shop or to run your own home budgets on, or maybe even play some games, especially if you have that Z13, but definitely consumer or commercial 100% through and through.
No, thank you, Matt. And yeah, absolutely. This device was designed to be an enterprise grade device. It meets all the reliability, manageability, security features of any other ThinkPad. And it'll be, a great seller for, the largest companies in the world, all the way down to the entry level, mid-market, and SMBs. So we're really excited about the reach that this product could have. We've had interest from, the Fortune 10 companies all the way down to, the entry level customers in the SMB space and mid-market. So the possibilities are really endless with Z Series, and, both companies are fully invested in making this 100% a success. So you'll start to see, a lot of marketing materials, campaigns, seed units, demo units. And that's really going to be the important thing on these products is get them in the hands of yourselves, your customers. You're really going to fall in love with this product when you test it and start to use it as a daily device. You are going to fall in love with the performance, the battery life, and some of the new features that I'm about to go over. The other piece I wanted to touch on the device itself from a performance and security perspective is the new Microsoft Pluton security chip. This is new IP that will be out from Microsoft. It was co-designed with AMD. It is the first of its kind. It is Microsoft's plan is for this to eventually replace traditional TPM security chips on your laptops. Over the last couple of years, organizations have started to realize that TPM chips are physically accessible since they sit on the motherboard. And there started to be some hacking scenarios and situations where people can physically access that on the device within their environment. So the purpose of Pluton is it's the first security processor that will actually sit on the silicon or in the CPU itself. and it will only be accessible if you have the Microsoft encryption code, which only your IT decision makers will have access to. So it's not physically accessible. You need that encryption code to access it, and it creates a more secure environment. These devices will still have the standard TPM because Pluton will only be active and work on Windows 11 based operating systems. Okay. We know customers will still take some time to transition to Windows 11. So it will have the TPM and the Microsoft Pluton, but if you are on Windows 11, you can turn off the TPM and switch over to using the Pluton security chip.
Tom did have a question on that point that I wanted to jump in there. He asked if these would be available in Windows 10 Pro. Most consumers are not interested in moving to Windows 11 Pro yet, as you just mentioned. I know there's a lot of questions of whether this will be able to be purchased with 10 Pro or just with 11.
That's a great question. So thank you for bringing that up. So Microsoft requires all of their OEM partners at this point to ship devices with Windows 11 as the standard. That being said, Lenovo will ship all ThinkPads this year with the downgrade option to Windows 10. So it will come with Windows 11 because of agreements with Microsoft and the OEM partners, but all of these devices will be Windows 10 compatible and will have the option to be downgraded.
Yeah, and I would say just, if you got the device, it has 11 on it. We're going to talk about some more features specific to 11. I've been using 11. Give it a shot. Just give it a shot before you downgrade to 10.
No, I've switched to Windows 11 myself, and it seems to be a great user interface. No issues here on my end. So I think more of the issue is it takes some of these organizations with massive footprints quite a while to make that transition. So, were there any other questions in the chat?
No. There are some other questions, but I want to kind of let you continue because I feel like we're going to answer some of them as we go.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to the modern user experience, and this is really why I'm excited about this device because, as I mentioned, everyone's working from home now. As we start to travel again, people are going to be back on the go. You might be working in a coffee shop or you might be taking calls from your hotel room. I don't think, moving forward post-COVID, a lot of people are ever going to be back in an office 5 days a week. I could be wrong. We'll see how it plays out over time, but Lenovo really took that into account when designing this product specifically, and it'll have a lot of features that you haven't seen on ThinkPad in previous years. So this will be the first ThinkPad ever to have an edge-to-edge keyboard. When we show you some pictures of the device at the end, you'll see what that looks like. But if you're looking down at your laptop now, you'll notice probably a bezel on either side, next to your enter button and your cap locks button. This will be fully edge-to-edge. So your device will actually end at the enter button and on the caps lock button on the Z13. Creates that premium look and feel. And doesn't waste space on the device, keeps it thin, light, and modern, which is what every user is looking for in their laptops today. The other piece that I'm really excited about on this device is a new 120 millimeter haptic force pad. That'll be the first time Lenovo is going to that sort of trackpad on one of their devices. They've received feedback over the last couple of years from their advisory councils that the trackpad could be better. It's not big enough. It still has those, outdated 3 buttons on the top where you can right and left click. So Lenovo really wanted to add a new type of trackpad to this device to test it out. It will be that 120 millimeter haptic force pad. I got to use one last week, and it is amazing. The touch is very sensitive. It's very easy to use. It still has that right and left click feature. It's just built into the overall trackpad. It sits in the device seamlessly, as you'll see in the pictures that I show you. And again, creates that really premium, sleek, modern look and feel that Lenovo was going for to compete with the Apples and the MacBooks of the world.
There was a question in chat about the keyboard. Whether any of these laptops have a 10 key option to the keyboard.
Neither device will have a 10 key option.
Okay.
And that's for a number of reasons.
You might get into that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say Lenovo still does offer that. There's still a number of legacy users out there that require that, but for the market that Lenovo was trying to address with this product, the 70% of the market they're not touching, younger millennials, Gen Z type of users, they decided to leave that out. But there will be offerings within the Lenovo portfolio that still have the 10 keypad, like the T16 and some of the mobile workstation offerings.
Matt, you had
Do you
something?
want to add anything there, Matt?
So yeah, you kind of touched on it there. They wanted to go with this super sleek look. And as part of the super sleek look, they wanted to keep the keyboard entirely centered over top of that touchpad, because a lot of us younger kids don't really tend to use that numeric keypad. We rather have something that's clean and sleek and easy to navigate.
Us younger kids. Matt.
So another thing that's new is this, and this goes into the work from anywhere Microsoft Teams use, is the new communications bar. So these devices, Lenovo couldn't, no matter how much they wanted to, they couldn't get away from the red TrackPoint. So that will still be on these devices. But instead of using, iconic for sure.
Yeah,
but instead of using it as a mouse, they've added a functionality and a feature to it for people that might not have used it in the past. So if you touch and click on that red TrackPoint button, a communications bar will pop up in the middle of your screen. It'll allow you to toggle on and off mute, change your camera settings, switch between calls, change your background, things like that. Keep everything for your Teams, WebEx, Zoom calls, all in one neat, tidy place. So you're not, scrambling through the user face, trying to figure out, am I on mute? Come off mute. You're John, you've been talking for 10 minutes and we can't hear you. So this will really help solve some of those issues that we've seen in Teams over the last year or two.
I've never known how much I wanted a giant red button in the middle of my keyboard to mute myself until now. So
yes.
Now I'm excited.
No, I can't tell you how many calls I've been on where they're like, Chad, you're on mute. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I've been on 10 calls today. I forgot, so
it's happened in a broadcast for me here too, so don't worry.
Outside of that, the other really cool thing about this device will be the screen real estate. So I'll show you a picture of what this means, but this will have the highest screen to body ratio of any ThinkPad in the entire portfolio. 91% on the Z13 and 92.3% on the Z16. What that means is you're going to have very little bezel space. You're going to have a ton of screen real estate, especially on the Z16. So for those of you that like to have more and more screen space, these are going to be the devices for you. These have the thinnest bezels that Lenovo's ever come out with. And I'm really excited for that thin bezel, extra screen space, along with some of the OLED and 4K options that you'll have when you're configuring this device.
What screen resolution is it? It's 16:9, 16:10?
That's a good question. Let me look real quick. It is 16:10.
Awesome. That's. I feel like I think most of Lenovo's lines are moving to 16:10, and it's good to hear. That gives you just a little bit more screen real estate to work with.
Yeah, and that's really been a push for Lenovo over the last couple of years, is really improve the quality of screens that they're providing on their devices. That seems to be a huge talking point with customers when they're asking for feedback.
Cool.
And interesting thing to know about that
Go ahead.
Screen to body ratio. The newest iPhone 13 Pro Max has a screen to body ratio of less than 90%, and we've got a screen to body ratio of greater than 90%. Whoever thought that your laptop would have more screen real estate in your smartphone?
No, that's a great point. And, Lenovo has amazing engineers. They're continuing to innovate each and every year. You had the X1 Fold last year, which was unfortunately my competitor's product, Intel, but the first foldable device in the market. And, now exclusively with AMD, they've come out with the Z Series. So, Lenovo's an amazing partner, and they continue to innovate each and every year and, try and stay ahead of the curve in the competition.
So you said you had some pictures, some images of the device you wanted to kind of go into detail, and you want to go ahead and show us those?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get my screen shared here. Let me know when you guys can see it.
And that's fine. And while he's pulling up his screen, I'm just going to let you guys know that we are pushing out some poll questions to you guys. We want to ask you some questions about how you feel, about what you're seeing. Your feedback always lets us know how we can better serve you and put out more content that is tailored to what you guys are looking for. So thank you for your time and answering those questions. Chad, we see you, so walk us through what we're seeing.
Awesome. So this is the Z13 with the bronze vegan leather. Has kind of a matte feel. It has kind of a matte feel and finish. You can get a glimpse here of the edge-to-edge keyboard there on the bottom. And the other thing that I didn't mention going over the product is you see this little bar at the top here. So that is going to hold an FHD camera, an amazing mic array, and really going to improve that experience on Teams, Zoom, and WebEx, whichever is your choice. The other thing that one of the Lenovo product managers mentioned to me is when you close it, it actually gives you a little way to lift it up with a finger. It closes and it has a little lip that hangs over. So it's kind of a cool feature. Good. Yeah, so when you close your standard laptop today, it fits simultaneously, and sometimes you have to mess around with it a little bit to get it open. So this will give you an easy way to flip that open and get working right away. Here is another view of the Z13. This gives you a better view of that edge-to-edge keyboard, starts to show you how narrow the bezels are around the product itself and how much screen real estate you're going to get. And here's a new look at that haptic force pad. So you can see it fits in very well, isn't sticking out with those buttons or the center button. It's going to be seamlessly fit in, really clean look and feel, and it's going to have amazing usability. It's very easy to use, super sensitive to touch. It's going to create a much better experience, in my opinion, based on my initial use. And you see that Lenovo couldn't get rid of that red TrackPoint button in the middle. So out of anything on this product, that kind of gives it that, grounding back to the ThinkPad brand and, all the history that they have over the last 30 years. Here is a look at the Arctic Gray aluminum, which again is 100% recycled aluminum. So this is the Z13 as well. So the Z13 will come in that gray aluminum option or that bronze vegan synthetic leather. Okay, so this is the Z16. Mm-hmm. So instead of the edge-to-edge keyboard on the Z16, you're going to have these premium Dolby user-facing speakers. They wanted to do user-facing, again, for Microsoft Teams, Zoom, WebEx, to give you a better sounding quality of voice when you're on those meetings. Or it gives you premium level speakers, if you're listening to music, watching videos, making content. So that was something they really wanted to add since they weren't able to do the edge-to-edge keyboard on this device since it's a little bigger. This is the only color the Z16 will come in. So it's Arctic Gray on the 16 and then gray and bronze vegan leather on the Z13. Here's a closer look at that Z16. You can see the speakers here. You can get a better look at that haptic force pad. And then one thing I did forget to mention, and this goes back to the security that Lenovo has been focused on, it will have that fingerprint reader as a button next to your control. So you can just quickly touch that and log into your PC instantly and still have that peace of mind knowing it's secure, way more secure than a traditional password that we've been using for years. And this is the last picture. This is my favorite one. This really shows you that screen to body ratio. If you took away all the logos, all of the Lenovo branding, you would really think that you were looking at a MacBook here. So you can really
I didn't want to say that, but it does look a lot like it, yeah.
So you really get an idea of where Lenovo was thinking when designing this product. They really didn't have anything in the portfolio previously to compete with Apple, to compete with Dell XPS, HP Firefly. So this really bolsters their portfolio, and together with AMD and the performance that we're bringing to the Lenovo portfolio, This is going to be an amazing device. It's one of the best laptops that I've ever used, if not the best. And we're really looking forward to a successful year with this product in partnership with Lenovo and obviously our great partner D&H.
Hey, Chad, you went through some of the ports on there a little bit. This is charging and docking over USB-C, right?
Let me go to the port section here.
Yeah, we have a couple of people that are asking specifically about what ports are available on the devices.
Yeah, so that is one thing, because of the modern look and feel, the slimness of these devices, it's going to move to an all USB-C type of docking and charging. So the Z16 will have 3 USB-C ports, and the Z13 will have 2. The cool thing about all the USB-C ports is they all act as a charging port, so you can charge the device in any of the 2 or 3 ports. You can also use any 2 or 3 of those ports for your docking capabilities. So as more and more folks move to Thunderbolt and USB-C for their docking solutions, you'll start to see those, RJ45, HDMI, legacy ports start to disappear on some of these devices moving forward in the future.
So there's a question regarding specs as well in here. What is going to be the most common RAM configuration in the Z series that will be available? With Teams and other applications, 16 gigs becomes most common base for RAM requirement. I believe I saw on the spec sheets there that the memory is soldered in, correct? It's DDR5 memory that's soldered. And what are the configurations of that?
So a lot of cool features coming to all of the Gen 3 ThinkPads from Lenovo this year. So Lenovo is launching DDR5 memory in all of their Gen 3 ThinkPads. So moving from DDR4, that'll give you a much better experience, much faster, and it's what the market will move to this year. So Lenovo, staying ahead of the game and, making sure they have all the latest, speeds and feeds, bells and whistles to power their new ThinkPads. Along with that, they will be adding PCIe Gen 4 hard drives to these devices. So you'll get an upgrade in the SSD performance as well. And then the last one is they will be adding Wi-Fi 6E to these devices also. So you'll get that premium, latest and greatest Wi-Fi experience on these devices as well. From a configuration perspective, these will be available in Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 Pro. And the Z16 will have a Ryzen 7 Pro H level processor, which is going to be our best performing Ryzen 7 that we've ever released. But you will have just for the standard Ryzen 5 and 7 option as well. From a memory and hard drive perspective, I expect the most common configuration on this device to be Ryzen 7 16 gigs with a 512 SSD. But there should be a number of top seller focused models that Lenovo puts in the channel and plans on stocking regularly.
All right. Do you know offhand the number of displays out you can get over USB-C on this laptop? Is it 2, 3, 1? What is that number?
The Lenovo USB-C docks support 3 displays. They can do a 4th if you need, but it won't be high resolution. So you'll get 3 high resolutions, and you'll get one. You'll get one extra if you want to downgrade some of those resolution characteristics.
Awesome. Do you have anything else you want to add to this? If not, we've got a bunch of questions streaming in. I'm gonna also remind everyone that if you still have questions, we'll be answering questions for approximately the next 30 minutes. We'll kind of roll through them as we want to. Chad, anything else you want to add on the look of the device before we kind of move on to some of these questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing in conclusion. The partnership that AMD has with Lenovo has never been stronger. If you go back to 2017, we had 0 offerings with Lenovo. Intel had 100% of their portfolio and their market share. Because of the innovative products that we're bringing to market in our Zen-based CPUs, Lenovo is really starting to trust us, and I think this product is the epitome of that. This is an AMD exclusive product, Lenovo trusted us as a partner to co-design the Z series with AMD. And we think this is going to be a huge jumpstart to our business and our relationship. So please get your hands on one of these. I think they're going to sell very quickly. And we would love all of your feedback on initial testing. And any feedback that you have, we would love to answer any more questions or, hear your honest opinion of the device. So I really appreciate everyone's time today and letting me take you through all of this.
Cool. So let's go through some questions here. One of the ones that came in a little bit earlier was, and we talked about it briefly, but can we talk a little bit more in depth about where the Z series fits within Lenovo's entire lineup? You have the TP, the E's, the L's, the Z1s. Where does this one kind of sit in that lineup?
This is going to be top end premium level of the stack. So it's going to be comparable to their current X1 lineup that they have exclusively with Intel. So X1 Carbon, X1 Yoga, X1 Nano, X1 Fold. This is going to be the highest. This is going to be the highest end AMD device in the portfolio.
So Connor had a question, and I think this is actually boils more down to a Windows 11 question than a device question. But he's saying a lot of customers who are enterprise may not necessarily be tech savvy. How easy would it be to set up these devices for the customers? I would say that if you've ever gone through the Windows 11 new user experience, it's actually pretty straightforward. But Chad, what do you feel on that one?
I think Microsoft's goal is to make it easier and easier to transition because the more people that are on Windows 11, the more money that they're going to be making. So like you said, Chris, they've made it pretty easy. I am not a tech guy. I'm a sales guy. And, I set it up pretty easily by myself. Normally I have to call IT or the help desk or something like that. But it should be pretty straightforward. And, if your customer does have issues, IT departments, across the U.S. should be all over this and be able to provide support, whether it's on the Z series or any of the other Lenovo products out there in market.
Speaking of support, we'll bring Matt in here for this next question. Will this product, is this product fully serviceable by Service Depot warranties through Lenovo?
Absolutely. So the great news about partnering with a good OEM like Lenovo is this carries the full weight and faith of Lenovo right behind it, along with AMD. So the standard warranty processes that are available, all of your other favorite Lenovo platforms are also available with the Z series.
Awesome. So someone, Brian out there, is excited as I am about the red button also being able to use as a mute button. He asked, does it light up when you're muted or live? And I don't know. That'd be interesting to know.
It does not, unfortunately.
That's next year. That's an idea, Lenovo.
Next year.
You can send me the royalties for that idea. Actually, it was Brian's idea, so we should send the money to him.
We're all about feedback, so let's keep pounding the horn to Lenovo.
A couple of people were interested in the built-in mic array for the device. Does that mic array have the ability to block out background noise? Should a person be on a call without headphones?
Correct. They, really wanted this to be an experience for audio, whether you had a headset or not. So the experience, just talking into the device should be an ultra premium feel compared to any laptop or, offering that you're using right now.
Cool. And within Teams, WebEx, Zoom, all of them also have software abilities to help block out background noise. So when you have the hardware and the software working in tandem, it really helps with that type of application. Can we talk a little, or how much a little bit about completely got tongue-tied there. Can we talk a little bit about the cooling features of the device being completely, aluminum? How does that affect the cooling in the device?
So the reason these devices are going to run cool and quiet is actually not because of the materials. It's because of the AMD CPUs that power the devices. The reason AMD has made so much progress over the last couple of years is we are bringing a better product to market than Intel, our competition, for the first time in our history. So what that means is, so for these products, the Ryzen 6000 series, they will be built on a 6 nanometer node process. That's the actual size of the CPU. To put that in perspective, Intel is still shipping 10 nanometer, even on their new Alder Lake CPUs. So what 6 nanometer allows us to do, it's a smaller footprint, it's a smaller CPU that requires less power than, let's say, a 7 or a 10 nanometer CPU. So not only are these things going to have the most performance because of 6 nanometer, but they're going to use less power. So less power means the fan doesn't have to run as hard. The parts in the device don't have to run as hard. So the processor itself and the great technology from AMD is what's going to allow these devices to run cool and quiet, and you not have that old feeling where, you know, your legs are getting hot because the device is so hot above you. So all that's gone away, and, you know, we can thank that to the great engineers here at AMD and at our manufacturing partner TSMC in Taiwan.
Awesome. Jordan asked, how many expandable ports will there be for the PCI Gen 4 SSDs? Can you add multiple PCI 4 drives to the device?
No, it will be only one drive that will be allowed on these devices. So you can either get a 256, a 512, or I believe a 1 terabyte as well.
So
then, and the Z16 will go up to a 2 terabyte, but it's just one drive.
Okay.
So let me kind of parlay that into the next question, logical question. Do these devices have any ability to be upgraded after the fact, or is it more of a, once you've purchased it, the specs you have are the specs you're going to keep, because it's got soldered on memory, you can't add another hard drive, so there's no ability to kind of upgrade as needed, correct?
No, unfortunately, when you're getting into these really thin and light devices, you know, most of the time it's going to be soldered, so it will not have the ability to be upgraded, and that's the same in the Z13 and Z16 as well.
It makes sense in a lot of the devices of the same caliber and the same places. The Z series are very similar to that. They are non-upgradable after the fact, so it's not necessarily something that is a deal breaker, but it's something that you should just at least be aware of when purchasing it. Speaking of purchasing, everyone's starting to ask the big question: when are these going to be available?
That's a great question. So Lenovo will be able to start quoting these and providing quotes and prices to folks about a month before we get to the launch or the ship support date. So that'll be early April. These things will officially hit ship support. What ship support means is Lenovo can physically build and ship a fully functioning device. That will be the first week of May for the Z13 and the second week of May for the Z16.
And then, as you said, prices will become available within the next month or two. I would say if you're interested in prices for this, reach out to your sales rep at D&H, and as soon as we get pricing available on all these units, we will be happy to send it on over to you.
Yeah, and pricing will be very dependent on configuration, you know, the processor, the RAM, you know, everything, the hard drive. So, you know, definitely take a couple look at different options, as Chris mentioned, from your D&H sales rep.
Mike had a question with all these soldered on components. I'm assuming there's limited repair options as well, question mark. And then he was also asking, do these units include some kind of spill-proof keyboard to help protect the device?
Yes, the entire ThinkPad lineup has now had spill-proof keyboards for a few years. It'll be no exception on the Z series.
And on the repairability side, that's when I think you really want to kind of hook up with Matt and start talking about the warranties available in the device. Lucas had a question, Matt, if you knew what the native warranty for these devices were going to be.
So the native warranty on this should follow the same standard high-end Lenovo warranty. I don't want to quote it, I don't see it on this particular spec sheet, but I'm pretty sure we're rolling with a 3-year option. But we'll get back to you on that one, unless you know off the top of your head, Chad.
I don't for the Z series, but if I know Lenovo like I do, it'll have a number of options. It will come standard with that 1-year depot, and then have the option to be upgraded to a 2-3-year depot or a 2-3-year on-site warranty. And it probably will have 4- and 5-year options as well if you're willing to pay the premium for it.
And a perfect place to reach out to for some of these follow-up questions as well is Lenovo Specialist at DNH.com. We've got a team of product experts over there who are much more knowledgeable than I am about the specifics of some of the Lenovo warranty issues, and also how to get to the best place for product support. And coordinating with your DNH sales rep, they're a great team to have on your speed dial.
Yeah, the most popular warranty right now at Lenovo is probably the 3-year on-site, which is where, they will actually send a technician to your location to repair the device instead of you having to send it in for repair.
So, Chad, Jordan had a question. It's a volatile question because the situation changes on a daily basis. But what are Lenovo and A&B strategies to reduce times or lead times on the Z series with the current global supply chain disruptions?
Great question. This is one I get every day from customers, partners.
I would imagine so.
So the answer is yes, absolutely. The reality right now is the entire world is supply constrained, whether it's, the stuff that we deal with, laptops, desktops, workstations. It's even, gone to cars, washing machines. So, I think everyone realizes at this point that there is, a global issue that is kind of out of our control. What I can say on the Z series is that this has more focus from Lenovo than I've ever seen from a product launch in a long time. I met with their demand planning manager last week, and we are planning for quite a bit of volume on this product in the first 12 months. So trust me, Lenovo is invested in making this thing a large success. And to do that, we have to move volume. So they're going to commit the parts needed to ship volumes here to North America. And we fully expect lead times to improve, especially on this device.
For a new device like this, like you said, it's important for people to kind of get it in their hands. We had a couple questions if there will be any NFRs available for this model for internal or demo purposes.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
We have a couple people that are asking if there are any NFR models that can be purchased for internal use or demo purposes on the Z series. And that might be a better question for Matt.
I'm not familiar with NRF.
Or NFR, not for resale. NFR. Matt?
So from the DNH perspective, at the moment, we don't have any of those programs available yet. However, we plan on partnering with A&B and Lenovo once this product is launched and we have some inventory available to have several different demo programs in the works for you guys. So keep in touch with your Lenovo specialist team and with your sales rep, especially if we can present a solid business case. Sometimes it's really easy for us to get demos out for the right opportunities.
Awesome. As we're starting to come to the top of the hour, we're going to start wrapping up questions. We still do have some time for your last minute questions, so go ahead, get them in there. There was a question much earlier that if you don't know how to answer, Chad, I might even take a swing at this one. Can these devices be managed through Microsoft Intune?
Yes, they can. If the device is an Intune shop, Lenovo has made a lot of efforts towards their autopilot features.
Yes.
What autopilot is it allows Lenovo to preload an image at the factory. And then, they can ship a device directly to the end user. So let's say IBM's headquartered in New York, but they have hundreds of employees spread out in different states. Instead of having to ship all the devices to New York and image them by hand and resend them out, Lenovo can preload that image at the factory. They ship to all the locations. And then when you log on, you put in your username and password. And because of Intune, it will automatically download your image and all your applications from the Lenovo cloud. and you will be ready to go from home. So Lenovo's making a big push towards Intune and Autopilot, and that will be supported on the Z13 and Z16, along with the rest of the AMD ThinkPads throughout the portfolio.
Cool. And what I can tell the people that are viewing right now, if you want more information on Windows Autopilot, I strongly urge you to, after this presentation, head on over to dnh.com/solutionslab. We have a video up there right now going over the specifics of Windows Autopilot, and that will get you all the information you need to start kind of weaving that into your business opportunities. Mike just asked a question. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's a great feature, and a lot of customers with Lenovo have started to adopt it and use it as their number one service when it comes to imaging.
Yeah, it's speaking with our service department that does a lot of the imaging for our people in our services department. They've had nothing but they've had no hard times when doing autopilot deployments. It's been pretty easy, and Microsoft's put out a pretty user-friendly suite there to kind of help you through that. Couple of questions, obscure ones. Mike asked, does this have an option for a dockable pen like the X1 Yoga? And I will add on to this, is the screen touchscreen at all?
Does not have the pen, but it will have a touch option. So both the 13 and the 16, you can get the non-touch or the touch option.
Take that, Apple. Lucas asked, do you have any insight on why Lenovo went with a 16-inch for their larger, not like a 15 or a 17-inch screen?
That's a great question, and that would have to come from Lenovo for the final answer. But what I've heard is that a lot of folks are moving towards that 16-inch screen size. So, for example, Lenovo's coming out with a T16 this year, which is going to be a first in the portfolio. So we kind of followed suit with the Z16. Based on feedback from customers, people wanted that more screen real estate. So a lot of customers requested that the 15-inch become the 16. So you'll start to see that become a reoccurring trend throughout the Lenovo portfolio.
The Lenovo ThinkPads and ThinkBooks have been kind of known for their sliding privacy thing over the webcam. Does the ZBook have that?
It doesn't have the manual one, but you can press the Control FN button at the same time on the keyboard, and it will close the camera shutter on and off for you.
Oh, that's neat.
Yes,
that's
very cool.
That's a nice way of handling that. A couple of people are asking about the weight of these devices. Do you happen to know them offhand? The 13 and 16.
Yes. So the Z16 will be a little larger. It's 4.3 pounds, and then the Z13 will be that ultra premium, thin and light, 2.7 pounds.
Lucas, I will co-sign on to your Z18 model next year. We'll throw a 10 key on there to make some people happy as well. But it's feedback we can send to Lenovo. So maybe we can get a larger one next year. Are there any plans on adding the Ryzen 9 processor to these products in the future?
Let's see here. I'm just taking a look. I believe the Z16 might have a Ryzen 9 option. Give me 1 second here.
All right. And while they're doing that, go ahead.
The Z16 will be configurable in the Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7, and Ryzen 9. Sorry, I misspoke on that earlier. And the Z13 will be available in the Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7.
So Ryzen 9 this year on the Z16. And that will
that's the first time
go ahead.
And that's the first time we've ever released a Ryzen 9 in a mobile laptop with all of our OEM partners, Lenovo, HPI, Dell, etc. So this is really a first for AMD.
So and to kind of close things out here, so we've been talking about the Z13 and 16. We pushed out a poll question earlier of which model the people that are watching here today are most interested in. It ended up 40% on the Z13, 60% on the Z16. I will ask you, Chad, and then we'll ask you, Matt, as well. Which one, if you had your choice right now, would you get your hands on if you could pick a Z13 or a Z16? Which one are you going for?
Great question. So, pre-COVID, I was traveling a lot, probably every week. I expect that to start to ramp up again here soon. It seems like we're starting to get back in the swing of things a little bit. So I will be choosing the Z13 just because I'll be on the road a lot.
All right, Matt, I understand you have to go here. So real quick, which one are you going with?
Well, my heart wants the Z13 with that vegan leather cover, but my head says that Ryzen 9 and the Z16 it's too hard to get away from. That power is incredible.
Dedicated graphics as well. I'm going Z16 all the way.
Yep. I'll lug the brick around. All right.
Yeah. Either way, you're still looking at a very thin mobile device, whether you pick the 13 or 16. Guys, thank you so much for all the fantastic information today. Is there anything you wanna close out with, Chad, before we sign off here?
Thank you guys for your great questions. Normally when I do this sort of stuff, we don't have questions, so I can tell you guys were engaged and really taking a look at the information. So we really appreciate your attentiveness. If you want a Z13 or a Z16, reach out to your AMD, your Lenovo team at D&H, and we're looking forward to turning this product into a home run and hitting Apple where it hurts. So thank you guys all for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Cool. If you guys have any questions, if you're viewing this on demand or after the presentation, you can go ahead and email Lenovo Specialist at dnh.com. This broadcast will be available on demand, dnh.com/DNHTV, usually within the next 48 hours. Upcoming broadcast for you guys, I want to make you guys aware of. We have a D&H TV event happening on March 10th, business continuity for the modern workforce. And then we also have a Solutions Lab event happening on March 17th. Cisco's got some new information on their SMB hardware and management. They're also giving away a couple of noise canceling headphones as well. Head on over to dnh.com to register for both of those events. But without anything else, thank you, Chad. Thank you, Matt, so much. What a fantastic presentation. Thank you, all of you, for joining us, and I hope everyone has a fantastic day.
Thanks, everyone.